on medical leave currently, so he's taking over.
Okay. Hello.
Hi.
Hello, Vanessa. So, welcome everyone to this meeting of the Lanson Brook Farm Board. Very pleased to have you here with us in person. So it's a suggestion amongst the board that we take this opportunity to meet in person. I think traditionally we will continue to meet on Zoom, but this seemed like a nice opportunity. I, for one, have not met a number of people in the room in person, and it's been at least more or less a year that I've been in this role. So it's a nice opportunity. So thank you for the town for providing us space. And without further ado, I'll formally convene this meeting of the Lampson Brook Farm today, September 16th. It is 4:31. And maybe we can start off with brief introductions. Maybe I'll start with you, Gerard. About it.
Hi, everybody. I'm Jared Kennedy. I'm the designee for the Commissioner of Agricultural Resources, Ashley Randall.
Jennifer Soper with the Department of Conservation and Recreation.
Tammy Ryan with the Belchertown Agricultural Commission.
David Haynes with the Belchertown Conservation Commission.
Jonathan Spiegel with the Belchertown EDIC.
And Vanessa Farney with Division of Conservation Services at EEA. Do we want to take a quick moment and have folks in the audience introduce themselves? Okay. We have some representatives from MDAR.
Yeah, I'm Ryan Burke. I'm part of the state farmland licensing program with MDAR.
Pat Berry, I'm on the NESFI board.
Susie McCrae, I'm on the NESFI board.
Cheryl Holly, Hassamisco.
Charles Thomas, Hassamisco.
Cheryl Stetler, Hassamisco and Belchertown.
Pete Westover, Conservation Works.
Ellie Vaughn, Phoenix Fruit Farm in Belchertown.
Grace Asimov from NESFI.
Barry Albertson, Town Planner. Jim Berry, Citizen.
Sarah Weil on the NESFI board.
Hi, Gregory Olmsted-Mori, also on the New and Small Farm Institute board.
Great, thank you. We also have this meeting available on GoToMeeting, just FYI, and it does look like we have maybe a couple members of the public joining us on GoToMeeting. So hopefully that. Are you able to hear us? I think it looks like we have Molly Merritt online.
One person.
I can hear you. Great, excellent. All right, excellent. And of course, this meeting is being recorded. So just for those in the audience here. The first agenda item we have is just the approval of past minutes. So do we want to entertain a motion to approve the minutes from our last board meeting in May?
So moved.
And I'll second.
All right. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, unanimous consent to approve the minutes from our last board meeting. Excellent. Okay, so the next agenda item is just a brief update on the status of the survey plan, that approval and certification. So in terms of an update, DCAM has certified the survey as well as the management plan. So both those documents have been, or the legislature has been notified of that certification via a letter to the Ways and Means Committee. The A&R submission form is still pending. DCAM is working on the signatures for that document, and that should be submitted to the Belchertown Planning Board shortly.
The what?
The
A&R.
Sorry, I should say the Form A, which accompanies the survey plan for the A&R approval, or approval's not required.
If the mics are on, can you like move them closer to you?
Sorry, there we go. Is that better?
A little.
Does my, all right. I'll work to project.
No, these are going on television.
That's the mic, the big thing there.
So the survey The Form A for the survey, which needs to be filed with the planning board, Belchertown Planning Board, is pending signature from DCAM. I was in touch with my contact at DCAM. She is working on that, so that should be submitted soon. So that is the update on the survey plan.
That's a milestone.
That's huge.
Yeah.
I mean, it's been years that we've been waiting for that.
Yes.
Wow.
It feels like we are inching closer to that finish line, so.
Do we need to take further action on approval of the plan? Were there any changes, or were they all approved last time?
There's been no change since that was approved at our May meeting.
Right, okay.
Yep, so that is all approved and is currently in DCAM's court, and hopefully with the planning board soon. So, the next item is just an opportunity for an update from MDAR. I know work is underway with that conveyance or transfer. So, sounds like there was maybe some conversations today, a meeting out at the farm. But anyways.
Yeah, sure. I'd like to thank the NESFI board for hosting us today for a very quick tour of the commercial farm parcels. I've been out before, but it was really an opportunity for this man here who's introduced himself earlier, Ryan Burke. He's coordinating our state land licensing program. So we're licensing out about 1,200 acres statewide. And Ryan will be the point of contact when we eventually get around to licensing the fields. The status currently is that we have a draft of a care and control agreement. So the legislation was passed by, obviously the legislature to transfer care and control and protect the land for agricultural purposes. To finalize that, it has to be there has to be a care and control agreement executed between the department and NESFI. It's a process that we've done before. And currently that care and control agreement is with NESFI. Not NESFI, I'm sorry, with DCAM. So the care and control agreement would be between the department and DCAM. And so currently the draft of the care and control agreement is with DCAM. And we are waiting to hear from them on the next steps.
I ask a question. One of the elements of the care and control transfer that we've discussed in the past had to do with whether it would be possible to do two things in that process. One would be to have those fields be consistent with, in their management, with the management plan guidelines for the fields on the property. And the second one was the revenue from those fields to come to the Lanson Brook Farmstead Board to be used on the property. So are those, this is a fast-moving process, are those still in the works?
I can go and speak on it,
Sure.
So right now, DCAM has a license with NESFI for the commercial farm parcels. That goes for, I want to say, another 4 years.
End of 2030.
2030. Within the care and control agreement we discussed with DCAM, we're honoring that lease as it stands. And I believe there's a negligible rent payment within that license or lease currently. It's like $1 a year or something like that. That's how DCAM has done it previously. So for the time being, while that license is honored, there's only that $1 fee to be concerned with, while NESFI maintains their sublease agreements. When we get to licensing, our licensing procedures, once that expires, we'll be putting out an RFR, which is our typical process. We put out an RFR that's open to the public for a certain period of time to receive applications for tenants for the property. And then at that point, we'd be accepting a new license fee with that process and a new management plan that can be consistent with the Lampson Brook management plan. So basically we have some time, I guess.
Good.
That's what I'm saying, until we have to be more concerned about some of those things. So yeah, that's basically the
Thank you. So I included on the agenda the opportunity to pick up the conversation that we left off in May. At the end of our meeting in May, we had some brief discussion about the opportunity to apply for a one-stop grant for some funding to assist with the dairy barn cleanup. And I think where we left that, Jonathan had very kindly prepared some materials from the previous year that he was seeking to move forward with. We had a June 6th deadline, and we were meeting in May, so it didn't provide us much time. And there were some questions raised at the end of that discussion, and then sort of the decision made to try and resolve those after having an opportunity to review the materials you shared. So one of the questions I think that came up in that discussion was around the cost for that cleanup and or grant request. And folks had referenced the report from Weston and Sampson, which, after the meeting, I had an opportunity to look at it. I don't know if others did, but I think there was perhaps not the same level of granularity to that assessment and the costs identified as might be required of the grant application. So that was sort of a question that came up. And then I think there was also a question about the particulars of the grant application process and who would be the eligible entity to apply. So I wanted to include this on the agenda today to provide us an opportunity to follow up on that. Jonathan and I spoke after the fact, and I think the June 6th deadline just really didn't provide time to resolve those issues, and so there was sort of a decision to postpone that, but try and position ourselves to better resolve some of those and maybe pursue this grant in the next round. So
I could give a brief synopsis of what it is and what we tried to do before and what our options might be. I did submit, and it's unclear whether this board approved it or not, but I did submit in 2022 for what the state provides through their one-stop portal, which is an agglomeration of many different funding sources and grants in a unified process. I did submit a proposal for a site readiness grant, one of the categories, to provide funding to essentially clean up the dairy complex, what we call the dairy complex on the site, to make it more appealing to any potential agribusiness which might consider that parcel or might consider the whole remaining property, but also to deal with what's there. It's an eyesore. It's also hazardous. And the amount I requested was relatively small at that time, 120,000 plus, based on numbers that I gleaned from people on the site, people who knew the piles and the mess. Regardless, that was not successful, and so the next round for these grants occurs in early spring with the first steps, inquiries and initial expressions of interest, certification, and so on. So we do have time to consider that. The portal for those grants, those specific grants, is not open. They're now reviewing and awarding the grants that were applied for and giving feedback to those people who were not successful. So we can use the new numbers we have from that report that we have. We can decide whether or not to apply for that. Today I did inquire of the manager of that grant program, who was at Mass Development, Amanda Newmiller, which entity would be appropriate in their eyes to apply for it. Would this board be appropriate, given that we are a public entity and like a community would be? Or would the leaseholder, NESFI, be more appropriate, or would some combination be appropriate with or without the town's involvement to do that? We've not yet heard back. They were out doing site visits today. but I'll report back. So we have several months about it.
Yes.
But the idea of pursuing something to make the site more appealing, now that things are moving forward with our management plan and the map and the certifications. So I don't know, what do other people might think about that?
Yeah, my question when I commented on your proposal was whether the board
Yeah.
would in fact be eligible, and it certainly didn't seem to fall within the list of eligible entities. And I was curious if the town, Belchertown, was as an eligible entity, if you ever approached the town about becoming a partner on the application or signing a project manager, or if that was an approach.
Not on that grant.
Yeah. Or if they
not
were
on that
interested.
submission.
Yeah.
But certainly we should look at that. The town, very familiar with the process. Each year, Doug Albertson, our town planner, shepherds a dozen or more proposals from different town organizations. The EDIC applied for and received a grant for what we call Parcel D a few years ago, and that work is 90% complete for one of our properties on Route 21, to make that more appealing for development. So all of those things should be looked at. I'm hoping Amanda Newmiller of Mass Development will have some insight. She's the manager for that grant pool, and I sent her the information about who we are, the Lanson Brook Farm Board, and our origin and status. So we'll see what comes out of it. I think the most important thing is to find, if it's something we want to do, the best way to do it. I don't think that this board needs to have that. In any event, these kinds of grants are managed by Mass Development anyway, for their implementation, for hiring contractors and engineers and so on. So whomever applies for it probably would not be the managers of it, but would be the awardees of the grant. So that's an update on where that stands, and I think you're right, we need to get more clarity on the best way to apply for it, so hopefully we'll get that.
And the only other comment I have is that I think it's a reimbursement grant program, so that seems to be a challenge in advancing.
It is, but it doesn't have to be.
Okay.
So that's another consideration.
Can you speak further on that? I'm just trying to understand, if it's not a reimbursement grant, how does the funding work?
That's in the small print. It's one line somewhere in the volumes of the application. What that means is that if you take the money and someday you have to pay it back. Some of it can be forgiven, that's clear, but there is a process to have it as a direct grant. It's unusual. We don't have the resources, and the sale of any of the property to any potential buyers would not result in enough cash to pay that back. So that would be something that'd be important to check on. You're absolutely right, Gerard.
Yeah.
But are you saying the reimbursement grant, it's like you buy, or you have a contractor, they do the work, you pay for it, and then they pay you back?
Yeah, it's a frequent
Yeah.
comment.
The other way. Mass Development pays for it,
But we have to pay them back.
and we have to pay Mass Development back.
I get it.
Pay the state back, essentially. It's like a revolving fund.
Right.
Oh, that's interesting. So that's different from my experience with grants.
Yeah.
Right.
It's certainly a major consideration.
Yeah.
The sale of the property would be used to pay that back.
Mm-hmm.
And if it didn't make enough money, where would the rest come from?
Well, that would be negotiated if we were awarded. And there are provisions to forgive part of it. They don't tell you about the provision where they make it a non-reimbursable grant.
So it sounds more like a loan.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a good way of looking at it.
Right.
Except that it can move forward in Mass Development as an agent for that process. Has the capacity to get it going and manage it. So we wouldn't have to do it per se. We might set the guidelines in our proposal but we would not have to manage it. We just keep it, we'd participate in its development.
So it sounds like there's quite a bit of detail that we need some
News
resolution
to
on.
come. Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so I think probably the best bet is to get some clarification from Amanda.
Mhm.
And depending on the response that you get, maybe we can have her join us for a board meeting and address any further
Great.
questions. Or I guess another opportunity here is to articulate any specific questions that we may have that we want Jonathan to follow up on specifically. So it sounds like you're following up with her on the question of eligibility and
Yeah.
understanding sort of who or what type of entity would be eligible. And then it sounds like maybe some clarity on the funding mechanism, whether it is in fact a grant or a loan, because I think the difference there is, it's important to understand, so that we can
Yeah,
consider
more
that.
important to understand the mechanics than the
Right.
label, because
Yeah.
the fine print is what we have to adhere to, so.
Mhm.
I'll
Okay.
keep you posted and the board and we'll find out.
Wonderful. I very much appreciate your time on this, because it's very helpful. And I did put this on the agenda to follow up from May, but also give us plenty of time to come back and follow
Right.
up on these questions and revisit this and
Right.
be well positioned for the spring. Because, if there is an opportunity to secure funding for any of the property cleanup, I think that's wonderful. Are there any other thoughts, questions, considerations that members of the board have on that topic at this time? Okay.
Do we have any kind of a status on where we stand legislatively?
The next topic?
Is that the next?
Or, let's see, where are we at?
Don't jump ahead.
Well, that's a nice segue to our next agenda item.
Vanessa, is it possible to tell us what the order of magnitude of the grant proposal would be?
Yes.
The last time
do you recall?
Well, the Sherman and Newman and
Sampson and Weston.
what was the number that they had in there?
$1.5 million?
Yeah.
$1.5 million, thank you, yes. That was for a complete polished job. And if we limit the activity solely to removing the material that's collapsed
Yeah.
without digging everything up at this point, it would be less than that. But I submitted for $124,000, which would only have cleared the brush and picked up the bricks.
Right.
Yeah.
Made it look a little better, but, one step forward.
And if I recall, when I was reviewing some of the guidelines, it sounds like the grants are somewhere in the vicinity of $50,000 to $500,000.
Yeah.
So,
Right.
it wouldn't. One of the questions is sort of what's the cost we're asking for, and I envision, and I'm drawing from just my own sort of experience as a grant manager. I think having a specific budget that supports the costs requested will be helpful. So we'll work through some of these preliminary questions, but then there would have to be some further discussion around how we want to
Right.
develop a cost proposal. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think anything we can do out there would be helpful. Great. Excellent. So I did include time for us to have some further discussion about this broader question that David raises here around sort of how to move the board's mission forward. Personally, I actually went back to the minutes and the recording of our conversation from, I think it was about a year ago, where I think this topic came up for conversation in some of the next steps proposed. So I very much welcome the discussion. If I recall sort of where we had left things as we discussed it, I think it was, Bob O'Connor was still there, so last June, was around the question of being able to bring a representative from DCAM who can speak on the subject and folks from the legislative delegation together to address this broader question of who's on first, right? So we're hearing from DCAM that there is further authorization needed. They have presumably drafted something, but the legislative delegation has not provided any, or takes the position that perhaps that's not necessary for DCAM to proceed. So just trying to get to reconcile these two different positions.
But DCAM is proceeding.
Well, that's my question. Like, how did you get them to approve the survey plan? Because they were saying that they weren't going to approve that until the legislation was changed.
Oh.
Apparently they approved both plans.
Right.
Was that when they took that position, that was, I wasn't aware of that.
Great.
So that must have
that precedes
predated
you,
my time on this board.
Do you want to summarize that
So-
for everybody?
Yeah, I mean, we sent it to them and they were like,
That's right.
we're not going to
Yeah.
act on this because the legislation's imperfect and it needs to change.
They had 3 or 4 suggested changes.
Yeah,
amendments.
the amendments.
Uh-huh.
That we had.
You're aware of
made,
those.
And
Mm-hmm.
then they approved it.
The survey, yes, yeah. So I wasn't aware of that previous position that they had taken. I don't know I know they had a different commissioner previously. I don't know if that, if it's
Maybe they
a
forgot
different
too.
position.
Yeah, right.
So anyways, just to address your question, I have not heard anything differently from DCAM.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I tend to look on the bright side and say maybe this is a goodwill gesture to try and move what they can forward, or move forward with what they can.
I mean, that was a requirement of the legislation, is that DCRAM approve the plan.
Mm-hmm.
Both plans,
Yeah.
the survey plan and the management plan. And you reported that they have approved both
They have approved
and
both.
fulfill the requirement in the legislation to inform the legislature.
Yes, and I did receive a copy of the letter that was submitted to the chair of the Ways and Means Committee for both the House and the Senate. So I can certainly share that with the board. I was just copied on that. So that is progress.
Well, I'm wondering if that means we can move forward with working on requests for proposals.
I mean, I have not heard anything different from DCAM in terms of the position they've taken in terms of the authorization for them to approve of a recommendation from this board. I think from my contact there, their position is the same, but she's a staff member as I'm a staff member, so yeah.
So this is a critical question, and because we have imagined what steps might be, we have formulated numerous steps that go beyond the approval,
Right.
but we were held in abeyance until that was approval. Maybe when we stopped bothering them, they liked us, but I don't know.
Well, they still have to transfer the properties, so
Yeah.
I don't think,
Right.
I haven't heard anything different from DCAM, that they've changed their interpretation of legislation or the need for additional legislation. I think they feel that they can transfer care and control to MDAR as another state agency, and that authority exists, but with the rest of the parcels, I don't think they, I mean, I don't want to speak for them, but I don't think that they've changed their position, or certainly they haven't made us aware or you aware that they have.
Yeah.
But
And my sense is I'm not sure exactly what the concern was with moving forward with the survey piece, but I think that's just been decoupled from the authorization they perceive as required to proceed with a transfer. So my sense is they found a way to move forward with the survey. I'm not aware of any change.
And they approved the management plan,
And the
the
management plan,
which
yes.
is more details in there.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
That's where the concerns were. The issues with the survey plan were minimal. They were more technical kinds of surveys than.
To make sure that nobody gave up
Yeah.
each parcel had adequate access in
Right.
front of it.
They were more technical, and it was the management plan where there were substantive questions that they raised and suggestions they made. So it would be important for us to inquire what our next steps might be with them, or what their next step. Informing the legislature, the chairs of the House and Senate Ways and Means Committee is a significant step. And it probably makes it, I don't want to guess at this, it might be more difficult to go back and say we want to now change the legislation. I mean, they can always do that, the legislature can always do that. But that's a more complicated process. So maybe if we just simply inquire what our next steps with them might be from their point of view. We're ready to move forward, right? We've got a lot still to do, but we have a sense of how we might do that.
Right, and I think it brings it back to having an open meeting with DCAM, our legislators, and this board.
If
So
in
that we
fact
can
we
have
feel-
this conversation.
With them,
Yeah,
yeah. If in fact DCAM still feels that they need to do that. We don't know whether DCAM now sees, in particular, the management plan as sufficient versus what they felt before. We don't know that, we haven't heard. What we've heard is that they've approved it and informed the legislature.
The management plan has been approved, but I don't know that that provides them, and I'm not, again, can't speak for DCAM, but I think there's something that technically, I think their, legal team feels language needs to be encoded in the legislation to authorize them to move forward with transfer. So approving of the management plan and the survey has been done, but that doesn't necessarily indicate that they feel they have the authorization for a conveyance or a transfer of the property outside DCAM.
Do we know that, or is that just the last hinge point that we were stuck on?
That's been the party line pretty much
Yeah.
all consistently.
And I haven't heard anything
To have a
different.
suggestion of trying to get the important parties together makes sense. So we know where we are anyway.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So, how do we want to approach that? Is it a letter to DCAM inviting them to the next board meeting? Is it a letter to the legislative delegation?
I think we need to copy both, yeah.
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 So,
Okay. Does anyone want to take that on? I think my recollection is perhaps there's been letters drafted in the past, essentially inviting, I think it was the former commissioner, perhaps, and perhaps Rep. Saunders' office and Senator Oliveira's office. So I don't have copies of those letters, but if you have, other members have something that I can work on drafting, I can try and find time to do that.
I'm sure they're in the record. They were all emailed. We all saw them.
Right.
I'd be willing to look and see what
okay.
I've got.
All right,
I'll look.
because I don't have access to Bob O'Connor's materials. So anyways, and
Anybody
it's,
As I
remember
recall,
when
it came
that
from
was?
you.
Yeah.
So Tammy wrote the letter, and I'm not sure that the state agency
I'm not
participated in that.
sent.
Does anybody remember when that was?
The last 4 or 5 years.
Tammy, you're welcome to take some time and
Yeah,
look for that.
Yeah.
To Jared's point, I think 3 of our board members are somewhat conflicted out from sending letters to legislative delegations, so
Yeah.
do we have a
I'm
volunteer?
happy to do it, but I don't know if y'all trust me to do
Perhaps
it.
you can find it. And maybe the 3 of us will send the letters representing our
Yeah,
board.
like that's what we did last time.
Mhm.
Okay, great.
Representing our board. Is that okay?
Yeah.
David?
Yeah, we did have a meeting with DCAM, the lawyers and the accountants, and everybody showed up, and they had a lot of,
They were ready.
I think Pete took care of most of that stuff, right, Pete?
Okay. So it sounds like what's proposed is the opportunity to invite DCAM and our legislators to the next meeting. Okay, and we can schedule that meeting when we have gotten some confirmation from them that they are available and sort of schedule it with their calendars in mind. Does that seem reasonable?
It seems great.
Okay.
It was in April of 23.
Oh.
Did you find it?
Yeah.
The letter?
Wow.
Yep.
Send it over to us.
Send it to us. Thank
Okay.
you.
It was to Commissioner Gladstone.
Okay, great.
Okay. Excellent.
What year? 25?
23.
23. I was right.
Okay. Any other thoughts on that in terms of, I mean, that does seem like a very logical next step. I don't want to be a complete skeptic, but finding time on all three calendars, a commissioner and both legislators, might be fairly challenging.
Zoom would be easier.
Zoom will be easier, and I think, although we're meeting in person here today for the opportunity, I think going back to a Zoom format is probably best for accommodating calendars. So if one or the other are available to meet, I just want to kind of get a sense from folks. I think it's probably still worth following up, even if we can't get everyone in the room together, just to hear from the delegation or DCAM. Is there agreement around that? Okay.
Yeah.
So we'll try and get find the opportunity to have everyone together for a robust conversation around this work. But if that doesn't happen, then we can find a way to move the conversation forward separately. Okay.
And then it might also be worth the board taking a look at the RFRs that Bob O'Connor drafted in 2022.
The last 5 years.
Yep. So Bob was proactive in putting together RFRs for the licensing of the transfers of the parcels. So it's probably time for us to at least have those
Brushes off.
Yeah, and ready if things change.
I believe I have a copy of that, so I can recirculate if
Yep.
that's useful. Okay. Okay, yep. Just so that we can at least be familiar with the document in advance of that. Excellent. Great.
So I sent out this letter before. No, you all approved it at the meeting, and then the three of us sent it together. Okay, I just needed to get clear. Sorry. Carry on.
So that was going to be my next question. Is it, do we need to approve of a draft letter prior to sending it? We don't necessarily have that draft now.
And we can't approve it by email because that's open meeting law.
Exactly.
Can this board authorize 3 members
Yeah.
to compose and approve it?
Yeah.
Because that's what we would do, bounce it back and forth.
We can't do 3.
Not 3. 2. Can 2 of you confer on the letter, and we'll authorize 2 of you to draft that and
Open
3 of you to
Send
sign or send?
If the letter goes out as a draft, and I'm asking this as a question, if it goes out as a draft and each individual board member comes back with suggestions, not publicly.
Really?
It has to flow-
Individually?
I'm asking that.
I think you
so
can do
think-
that.
It has to flow through you, Vanessa.
Okay, maybe not.
You're saying if you send each of your comments to me, and then
Yeah, that's.
You incorporate them.
I incorporate those?
I don't know.
I think what we did last time was that we approved it for 2 of us to work together to write the letter. but
Yeah, 2 people can do it.
Do you have a copy of the past letter in front of you?
just send it out.
I just sent it to her. yeah.
Okay. I mean, if it's a relatively, if the content is still applicable, maybe we develop some consensus that that form is appropriate and/or have some discussion now about what we would like changed.
Sure. The Lampson Brook Farm Board of Directors has held 19 public meetings since April 2020. During that time, the board has worked to complete a draft management plan, a draft survey plan, and a draft request for response for disposition of the 3 parcels, forest, community farm, and enterprise zone. All 3 of these draft documents have been submitted to DCAM for review. We feel that we have completed this work required by MGL Chapter 355 Acts of 2020, seeking further input and later approval by DCAM as required by the Act. The board has reviewed and is in support of the amendments to the Act proposed by DCAM. As a body politic, we are at a standstill because these amendments are not moving, and we need help and support from your agency to show that these amendments are needed to complete the conveyance of Lampson Brook Farm parcels to permanent conservation ownership. We would like to have you and appropriate staff attend the next board meeting, a virtual meeting to be held at a time and date convenient to you.
Well, it certainly needs some modification, right?
Sure.
I think there's probably some relatively straightforward updates to the document.
Yep.
I'm not certain specifically which amendments it references, so I don't know if there have been
It
any
doesn't matter,
changes.
it may not matter anymore.
Right. Exactly. So I don't know if those amendments still apply.
Well, these are the amendments that
Were they filed?
DCAM wants to
Right.
change
Right.
Okay.
so that they can transfer the property.
That's in the legislation, right?
Not yet, that's.
I mean, no, that's where they
Changes in
want
the
the
Yeah,
amendments.
right, yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm just wondering if
So that's
any
still-
of the amendments that are referenced in that letter have been tweaked or updated or changed by DCAM since
Well,
then. So,
Since then, we have gotten approval of the survey plan and the management plan.
Sure.
So
Mhm.
that's a big step forward.
That's a big step.
We weren't
right.
getting any response before.
Yep.
Would it be possible for somebody on the board to pick up the phone and call the commissioner and get some answers without going through the, next month of waiting for a letter?
I mean, I have talked to the commissioner and they're saying that they need the amendments passed.
Still?
I mean, that was a couple of years ago, but I don't, you're saying to find out now to see if anything's changed. Sure.
Is a phone call an appropriate way to invite a commissioner to the next meeting, or would a letter be more formal? Both.
I think
Okay.
Bob's suggestion was just find out where they're
If
at,
anything's
because some of the
changed,
questions
right.
we don't have answers to right now. So the letter can be appropriate.
So a phone call to the commissioner with a request for an update and a letter with a formal invitation to join the board at the next meeting to
Along with
address.
the legislators,
Along
or-
with the legislature.
Well, it
to-
would depend on what the commissioner says.
Yeah, but assuming that
Mhm.
Assuming that,
nothing's
yeah.
changed.
Right.
I think it would be worthwhile in the letter to identify that we would like a conversation with both the commissioner and the legislators.
Moving forward.
Moving forward.
It's
Just-
important for them to talk to each other.
Right,
'cause
well,
that's-
yeah,
Yes,
so that
yes,
would be a point of
yes.
clarification there too. So, does anyone have objections to delegating updates to the letter to 2 members of the board?
That's good with me.
There's 6 members, right?
There's 6 members.
So quorum is 4.
I think it's 3,
It's 3.
yeah.
Doesn't have to be.
But then that would be a meeting. You would still have to have a public meeting.
Right.
I mean, it's a short letter. Can't we just do it now
Sure.
on the fly? I mean, we're just inviting the commissioner to a meeting and flagging that we've
Right.
made these changes. So let's just do it now. And
I'm okay. I don't know.
We're good
We
on
have time, right?
We have time, we have time. So,
So I'm gonna forward this to whoever has a laptop too. So Jonathan.
Yeah.
If you, please add me too, just,
Yeah.
and then I'll have it later.
What are you saying, Vanessa?
Oh, I was just gonna ask about the internet. I'm not on internet. It doesn't look
Oh.
like so.
But send it to everybody that's
Yeah.
at the table
Yeah.
right now. Please and thank you.
Thanks for bearing with us. What if, yeah, so in terms of the updates, we're looking to update the contact to the current commissioner, update reference to the survey plan and management plan, which have both been certified. Maybe continue to share our support for their work to amend the legislation, I think, and invite the commissioner or his staff to address the board at the next meeting, or is it address the board, is it engage in a conversation with the board and members of the legislature or legislative delegation?
Or just simply say with appropriate parties.
Okay.
I mean, that can change once Tammy clarifies with the commissioner their status relative to previous suggestions, requirements for approval, changes in the legislation. And if they tell you they still need them, we'd like everybody involved. It'd still be good to have the legislators participate in this moving forward in any event. If they say it's not necessary,
Yeah, the legislators have been saying it's not necessary, and DCAM say it is, so they need to talk, they need to.
if that's still an issue. That's what Tammy's gonna ask about in the phone call.
So
Right.
Tammy's making the phone call.
Can you make the phone call?
So I think the three of us who work on behalf of other agencies are a little conflicted out. So I have to turn to the town delegation and ask one of you.
Well, it doesn't matter.
That's my impression. Gerard,
Doesn't
Jennifer, do
matter.
you have a different?
No, I agree, yeah. I don't think
Okay.
we can be, that's
Okay.
outside of our scope.
Okay.
So,
I'm happy to make the call, I just wanted
Okay.
to confirm that.
That's okay with me.
Okay.
so
Yeah.
Tammy's on point to contact the commissioner. Can I ask David or Jonathan if one of you would support Tammy in this work and play that role for the legislative contacts?
Yes.
Yeah,
David.
great, thank you.
I've got an awful lot of stuff going on.
So,
with EDIC
working
right
on the letter with you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so why don't we have Tammy and David work together on a letter? Tammy will be on point for developing a letter to the commissioner, and we should have something similar, minus the reference, well, we can refer to the amendments, but obviously, we're asking the legislature to, or the legislative members to speak to that. But a comparable letter inviting them to speak with us as well?
Can't be
Does
one,
that make sense?
can't
Yeah,
be
it
one
can't be
letter.
one. I mean, I thought we were gonna work on the letter right now together.
I mean, it's 3 paragraphs.
Right.
We can knock it out in 10 minutes.
So one letter to all
Both,
the parties?
yeah.
I see.
I would say, I don't know about the legislature, but certainly Commissioner the new commissioner,
Back.
should be
Uh-huh.
contacted with a formal letter.
So one
So if
letter,
it's the Lampson Brook Farm Board of Directors has held 26 public meetings since April of 2021.
21, right?
Yeah. 26 meetings.
Okay.
And during that time, the board has completed a management plan, a survey plan, and a draft request for response for disposition of the 3 parcels.
all three of these draft documents have been approved by DCAM.
Well, not the third, so.
Oh, yeah, okay.
I mean, we could always leave out the draft request for response piece if we want to, but we did submit that to DCAM for their review. They might have forgotten about that. It was such a long time ago. But certainly the survey plan and the management plan have been approved by DCAM. And we have completed this work required by MGL, the Act, and are seeking further input.
Something like, it now seems appropriate for DCAM to work with us to clarify your view of the current status of this effort and the steps going forward.
Well, since this is going to both of them, I think it could be, it now seems appropriate for DCAM and our legislators to have a discussion with the board about how to move this forward, right?
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, I missed that. Okay.
I know, it's,
The reason we sent them the RFI drafts was to seek their guidance on whether it was concurrent with what they wanted as process. Not necessarily for them to rewrite it for us or approve it, but to give us guidance on, from their view, how it is appropriate to conduct those activities. That was our purpose in submitting the drafts. I believe we did ask them for input or for their reaction to them and how consistent it was or appropriate it was, given what they usually want to see.
I'm thinking for this meeting, it's probably good to keep that focus on the legislation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But back in 2023, those were the three elements.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's worth mentioning that we had sent them that draft, but
Yes.
there hasn't been any.
And that's still a piece of work we have to complete.
Yep.
Yeah.
So help me with this. It now seems appropriate for DCAM, the Belchertown legislators, and the Lampson Brook Farm Board of Directors to work together.
To have a conversation about how to move this forward.
To meet jointly, to have the conversation.
Like, do I want to mention Chapter 355 Acts of 2020 or just?
If it's going to the commissioner,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I
Yeah.
think it's appropriate to reference that.
yeah, I'll have somebody look it up when they look it up.
To meet jointly to have a conversation about moving Chapter 355 forward. Yeah?
Moving the work.
Right.
And we could have a sentence after that says, a
Describe.
similar letter will be sent to the legislators. Because it's not the legislature, we're not
No.
sending it
Right.
to everybody.
That was my point of clarification. Are we sending one letter?
No,
Okay.
a similar letter will be sent out to the legislators copied below.
Mhm.
And then each senator and the reps
Yeah.
get a letter saying, we just wrote to DCAM. We also want you to come to the party.
Or you could,
And-
you could just copy them in the letter.
Well, I think if we're actually inviting them to attend as well, we should be explicit in that, right? I don't know if
but
they
the
would.
letter can apply to both departments? Can't we write one letter and?
Well, it needs to address either the commissioner or the legislator that we're addressing, right? So I guess if we have one letter, who are we addressing it to? This one we're addressing to Commissioner Bach, I believe.
I would agree with that.
Yeah.
You agree? Okay.
But there might be a very similar form of letter that we could send to the legislators, right?
We can
and
see,
we just-
we can CC both of them
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
back and forth.
Keeping it short.
The board has reviewed and is in support of the amendments. Are we keeping that?
I don't think so. I
Okay.
think we're just trying to get them, to engage with us.
So is this whole paragraph gone?
So we are at a standstill, not because the amendments are, as a body politic, we're at a standstill. We need help support from your agency to complete the conveyance of the Lanson Brook Farm parcels to permanent conservation ownership. So we're at a standstill, get rid of because these amendments are not moving. And we need help and support from your agency to show or to complete the conveyance.
Help and support from your agency to complete the conveyance.
I bet the audience didn't expect to be such an exciting meeting,
Okay,
watching 5 people write one letter.
so that's it?
6 people.
And then, we'd like to have you and your staff attend the appropriate board meeting, the next board meeting.
Stunning.
Do you want to read it aloud? and
Sure.
Then we can approve it?
The Lampson Brook Farm Board of Directors has held 26 public meetings since April 2021. During that time, the board completed a draft management plan, a survey plan, and a draft request for response for disposition of the 3 parcels: forest, community farm, and enterprise zone. The survey plan and the management plan have been approved by DCAM. It now seems appropriate for DCAM, the Belchertown legislators, and the Lampson Brook Farm Board of Directors to meet jointly to have a conversation about moving the work of MGL Chapters 355 Acts of 2020 forward.
The provisions, I would say it's the provisions of the legislation. To advance
Mhm.
the provisions of the legislation.
Sure.
That's good.
Where?
You said move the work forward. I'm suggesting advance the provisions of the.
Got it. To have a conversation, say to advance the provisions. Got it.
The provisions of the legislation.
Good. Great. A similar letter will be sent to legislators copied below. As a body politic, we are at a standstill because these amendments are not moving, and we need help and support from your agency to complete the conveyance of the Lampson Brook Farm parcels to permanent conservation ownership.
You need to take out because these amendments are not moving.
Oh, yeah.
Take that out.
We are at a standstill. And so for the one that's going to the legislators, that wording's gonna change, right?
Yes.
And David and I will figure that out. Or do we wanna just?
Yeah, I mean, you could just say, and we need your help and support.
Sure, right, okay. I'll read that paragraph again. As a body politic, we are at a standstill and we need help and support from your agency to complete the conveyance of the Lampson Brook Farm parcels to permanent conservation ownership. We would like to have you and appropriate staff attend the next board meeting, a virtual meeting to be held at a time and date convenient for you. Thank you for your assistance with this matter, Lampson Brook Farm Board of Directors.
Great.
Pretty good.
That's good. Thanks for doing that.
Yep.
Thank you.
Thank
Pretty
you.
good. Thank you.
So do we need to formally approve this letter?
Yeah.
Should we go ahead and
Make a
take up a
motion?
motion?
So moved.
No, I'll second it.
All right, so let me formalize that. So do I have a motion to approve the draft letter contemplated here?
I move we approve the draft letter or the letter is amended.
And I second
And to be sent out from Jonathan,
the
David,
three of
and
us,
Tammy.
Right, so the draft letter is approved, and now, do we need a motion to authorize Tammy and David to work together on developing a form of and providing that to our legislators?
Okay,
So-
I'll make the motion to authorize Tammy and David to finalize the letter based on conversation with DCAM Commissioner and have the letters sent to DCAM and our legislators, signed by 3 town representatives, members of this board. Does that compose what we need to do?
I'm just typing up a formal motion here as we speak, so.
Where did you get to?
Okay. So I hear a motion to authorize Tammy and David to finalize a copy of the letter drafted here for the commissioner and revised and finalized for the legislators, signed by 3 members of the board, inviting that delegation to our next meeting.
That's sufficient. Sounds okay?
Mm-hmm.
Second, first, so moved?
So moved.
Aye.
Second? Do I have a second?
Seconded.
Great. Okay, excellent. So moved
Voted
and
on.
approved. Any objections? Okay, great. That's unanimous. Wonderful. Thank you. Thank you for your patience. I think that's excellent. One point of clarification, we're sending both the letters. Do we feel comfortable having Tammy provide a follow-up phone call to the commissioner to confirm he received the letter and provide an invitation, discuss dates, all of those niceties? Are we comfortable with that?
Yeah.
Okay, excellent. So Tammy, are you comfortable? It sounds like you've
Yeah.
called the commissioner before, okay? And similarly, David, if you feel comfortable picking up the phone after the letter has been formally submitted to the legislators, it might be a nice touch. Okay, great. So David will take care of that as well.
Do we have times that are good for us
For what?
for this meeting?
Let's start with time slot. Does this time slot, this has traditionally been the time we meet, about 4:30 to 6. Does this work for the board? Okay, so we'll try and stick with this time slot. Are there,
Really, that we want
we want to work
DCAM
with.
and
Oh,
legislators
I
there,
understand.
right?
They're the priority. I'm just curious if
Yeah,
there's like days that are out of.
We can,
it may not work if we tell them they have to be here at 4:30 on a Tuesday.
Sure, right.
I'll make it.
We'll make it
myself.
work. Okay.
Yeah.
I'll make it work.
All right.
I also want to ask, on this letter, we CC'd Jake, Aaron, Rebecca Tepper, Raina Rubin, and Stephen Andrews. I'm not doing that, right?
You were going to CC it
CC.
to the legislators.
Right, but that's it.
And then a second letter to the legislators.
But
Right.
do you want to have the, I think the DCAM people should be included in that CC. I think that's appropriate, don't you? Because, I mean, you're sending it to the commissioner, and then you're sending it to Steve Andrews, and, right?
And it's a new commissioner who's going to have new staff wondering,
Right.
who's been working on this?
Right.
I mean, so Steve Andrews, Raina Rubin have been
Right.
sort of the contact for this work.
Right.
I welcome other thoughts on this, but it seems appropriate to copy them.
Absolutely,
Yes.
Right.
absolutely. yeah.
Okay.
I'm not sure that Secretary Tepper needs
Okay.
to be included. I mean, we report to her
Yeah.
Right.
as state
Eventually.
agencies, so
Yeah.
not us personally, but our commissioners. So.
Sure.
Uh-huh.
We have
Yeah, so
often
that's
felt
kind of,
that that is always helpful, if not important.
To have
CC the
the
secretary.
EEA secretary.
I mean, if that was done previously, do we want to do that? I defer to the board on this matter. I don't,
I mean, if you guys think.
It can't be offensive.
The
Go
previous
ahead and
letter
put it
was.
on and
Okay.
include
It,
the,
it shows work is progressing and being done,
The
and
previous letter was copied CC to the secretary.
and it'll
Okay.
bounce over to Vanessa. Oh, what's this?
I'm not gonna, I'm not gonna,
Yeah. Okay.
Moving right
I'm
along.
serving as a chair here of this board, so I'm not gonna weigh in on the decision right now.
So if that's been the practice, then I think that's fine. I withdraw my objection.
Great.
Suggestion.
Excellent. Thank you to both of you for working and finalizing this. Let me ask the board a question. Is it appropriate for them to BCC other members of the board? I think on a BCC email, there's not, there's no, just so that we are aware when the letter is provided.
we can just send out the letter. I mean, I
And
don't
then-
see,
Proper form is for it to go to you and you to distribute
Okay.
it.
I mean, I
Okay.
see,
Okay, yeah, that's right.
So
Yeah.
BCC myself?
Yep.
Okay.
I
You're
BCC'd
sending
everyone
it?
last time.
No.
They're sending it.
They're
and then
sending it.
Did you CC
or
everybody?
just forward it on to you,
I mean,
Right.
and then you can send it.
Just
out.
confirmation that it
Yeah.
was sent, that's all. Okay, great. Excellent, so we will wait to hear back on that and then schedule the next board meeting based on availability. Great,
Wow.
all right.
What's
Well,
next?
we're good on time. So I left space here at the end of the agenda for other items the board would like to address. If there's any other items members of the board want to raise.
I'm curious if there's any updates from NESFI about the community preservation grant?
Oh, about the barn?
Yeah.
So it's been approved, the funds are available, and we started the first phase on the barn roof. Nothing more can be done until, spring, is what I understand, because Colonial Restorations is the construction company, and they are booked until the spring, but they wanted to secure the roof, at this point.
So it's,
So we're
Good.
going forward.
but it's good right now, like,
you've got the money. You got the money, right?
Well, the town has the money.
Well, I mean, it was approved.
Yeah, at town meeting, and then it went through, I don't know when it went through the select board. It was kind of like a while after July 1st, but it's been approved. I already submitted the first payment.
So it's
Great.
got a plastic sheet over the
What?
hole, it's got a plastic sheet over the holes, so it's good until the next blizzard.
Well, I hope so.
Yeah, okay,
I was hoping more would happen, but
yeah.
the first contractor backed out, so we had to go find somebody else.
Yeah, to find a new contractor.
There's a guy from Hardwick that does that stuff too.
So it's going forward.
So there's another topic relating to the site, which is the town's effort relative to the Trails Network.
uh-huh.
And Doug could give us a quick sense of where that's moving and how it might relate to the farm area, at least in the interim until everything is set by us.
Well, we're not really planning anything for the farm area right now, because things are not finished. But yes, eventually it's possible the accessible trail, the Lake Wallace Sensory Trail, could be extended down the sewer line from Jackson Street. And trails from the Lake Wallace and
does this take into account the snowmobile trails that are incorporated into the plan?
Yeah, because they have their trail that goes
Okay.
through the
So-
forest section.
That's not part of your,
No, that's,
okay.
they're a private group, so, I mean, we're coordinating with them on the Lake Wallace thing, but that's about it.
I did have a question. You had said the plans need to go to the planning board. What is going to happen there?
it's an A, well,
It's an
Doug can
A&R.
explain it, but
That's,
it's an A&R plan.
yeah, it's called subdivision approval not required, so as long as all the information is on the plan and we have the proper signatures on the application, the board just looks at it and says, nope, doesn't need anything more, and they sign it, and you go record it at the registry of deeds.
Got it.
It meets zoning,
Zoning's already
setbacks,
set.
frontage.
Right.
The zoning,
Yeah.
Zoning is set,
Okay.
and so it's really just the survey plan that needs an A&R approval by the planning board, not the management plan, right?
Right.
Yes.
Thank you.
Just need to get those
And
signatures.
once we find out how much control we really have, we are the ones who have to do that, right?
Well, yeah, I believe you would be the people submitting it to us, yeah.
What I meant was whether or not it's time to do that, or,
Got it.
and these phone calls and letters should help us clarify that.
Well, it's in process. So the Form A, or am I
Yeah,
getting
the
that?
application.
The application form is with DCAM. I was in touch with Doug last
Oh.
week
Yeah.
to confirm that it reflects what they would need. And so all we need is for DCAM to sign that. They are not a traditional landowner, right? So they submit a letter. They need to demonstrate that the individual signing is authorized by DCAM to submit the document, and that's the piece that they're pursuing right now.
Got it.
So, should be coming very soon.
Wow.
Doug, I relayed the Thursday deadline for the next board meeting, so
Okay,
I'm hopeful. We'll see.
couple of days, yeah.
Yep, I know, it's coming up. So, we'll follow up. Excellent. Anything further from the board? Are there any questions or comments or updates
We
from
have some time, yeah.
members of the public? I see a hand in the back.
That's me.
Oh.
I was just looking at mass.gov, the Lanson Brook Farm Board of Directors, and there's an announcement, notice and alert, important deadline for submission of conservation restrictions.
So that splash page, for better or for worse, is on every page
Oh,
in
okay.
EEA.
Okay.
So it's a little bit misleading on some of the pages because it has nothing to do with the work pertaining to Lanson Brook Farm. The Conservation Restriction Review Program at DCS is reminding everyone in the Commonwealth that if they have conservation restriction documents that require approval by December 31st, that they need to submit that for
Oh,
approval.
thank you.
Okay. Well, hearing no further comments or questions, I would move to adjourn this meeting.
Second.
All
So
right.
I move we go.
Any objections?
No.
No
We
objections?
can't debate it.
Meeting adjourned at 5:44. September 16th.
Thank you, Vanessa.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tammy.
All right.